Alright all, and welcome back to a new video, and we will be previewing the Irish Derby today and the whole card around the Irish Derby at the Curragh tomorrow afternoon/evening. Obviously, this is the first video since the Royal Ascot videos. I hope you guys really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed making them. It was a brilliant week of action. And hopefully, if you did last off a few losing days we had in the middle of the week, you would have had a nice winning day with good old Alpine Star and Palace Pier both supplying the goods on the final day. But we're moving back into the Irish racing now, and obviously the Derbies and the Oaks and all of them are pretty soon to come. We have the Derby and the Oaks over in England next weekend, which I'll obviously be previewing as well. And for this weekend we'll have obviously the Irish Derby day, and I'll also preview Sunday's card with the Pretty Potty Stakes being the headline, or the feature, sorry, on the card for Sunday. So I think hopefully it'll be an enjoyable weekend of racing. The racing has just started there at the Curragh for Friday night, headlining with the Apprentice Derby at the end of the 8-race card, I think it is. It is 5:10 here on Friday evening, so if you are wondering about odds and stuff like that, this is when it was being recorded, so the odds are the correct odds at present, and hopefully they'll continue that way and you guys can get on if you want to back some of these horses, and if you don't, obviously, fair enough, do make sure to give me your opinions down below. But we'll get into it. We have a good 8-race card to smash on through, starting off with the mile 2 furlong maiden. And this is a race, unfortunately, the odds have not come out yet. So I'm completely in the dark about what the make of the market's going to be like. However, I'm going to take a chance here on Serpintine. Well, it mightn't be a chance, it might be the favourite. I'd say it will be near the top of the market. He's seemingly O'Brien's second string based on Jamie Heffernan picking Monument Valley ahead of him. Wayne Lordan takes the ride. I wouldn't mind that at all. I'm actually going to be putting up a few of Wayne Lordan's rides on this card. This Son of Galileo was absolutely nowhere at Gorham Park and is only 2-year-old run behind Sherpa, who actually runs in the Irish Derby later in the card. He was 10th of 11th, I think. Came back out over a course and distance handicap on Guineas weekend and was 5th to Galileo Chrome. And Galileo Chrome also runs in the Irish Derby later on the card. He was much better that day, shaped with a lot more promise. He probably should have come second or third if not for greenness, which kind of meant he ended up wandering about and drifted off a straight line in the final furlong and a half or 2 furlongs. If you do have access to watch that race back, please do go and do so, because you'll see where I'm coming from in terms of the greenness and in terms of just not being quite as professional as perhaps he needed to be. Now it's his third start. He's a brilliantly bred horse, and it really is the time to strike for a horse like this. They'll be wanting him to get a win under his belt sooner rather than later. I don't think it's the strongest race on paper. We have a few unknowns. Joseph O'Brien's got a few unraced horses in there. Kevin Prendergast has got a nicely bred unraced horse. But you have to look at it at the moment and go, Kevin Prendergast hasn't had a winner since the resumption of racing, and Jim Bulger, who's also got a chance in this with Daylight Come, also has only, I think, had one winner since the return of racing. So it is hard to know. I wouldn't put anyone off them if they really, really fancy them, but these things do have to be taken into consideration when you're backing whatever you are backing for these races. So Serpentine, I'm not sure what odds he'll be. I'll probably put the odds in the description down below when the odds do come out. I'll edit the description so you guys know what price I've taken. The 4:45 is the mile 2 furlong alleged stakes, Group 3 affair. Only 4 runners now because the Condon horse is a non-runner, but not a bad little 4-runner race, that being said. And I'm going to be siding with Buckhurst here for Joseph O'Brien and Wayne Lordan. He's currently 13-8 best price. He's second favourite to Sir Dragonet. Son of Australia was very unlucky not to land the Heritage Stakes. I was very glad he didn't win the Heritage Stakes. That being said, because I backed Ancient Spirit that day. But he was very unlucky. He was really gaining at the line. I think this step up to a mile 2 is obviously exactly what he needs based on last year's form. He won 2 Group 3s, I think one over course and distance, over a mile 2. And he just looks, he slaps to me like he could be a better 4-year-old this year, to be honest. He's a big raw horse. I thought he ran superbly on his reappearance run, given I suspect that wasn't really the day. And I back Sir Dragonet at Royal Ascot. He's burnt my fingers too many times. It will be the one day he'll absolutely hack up. but I just can't have him. I think there was a lot made about Ryan Moore's ride on him. Was it the greatest ride? No, it wasn't. I do think this horse is really, really tricky. He needs to be ridden that way. He needs to be ridden really cold. And I had a bit of sympathy for Ryan Moore, to be honest, because I just think this horse is really not helping whoever's riding him. So, as I say, eggs are eggs. He'll win with me not on him tomorrow, but I can't go in again, and Buckhurst will be the one I'll be siding with at the slightly bigger price. The 5.15 is the 6 furlong handicap, and I'm going to take another chance here on the horse I backed on Guineas weekend, Dark Vader. Also for Joseph O'Brien, Dylan Brown McMonagle takes the ride. And he was a real disappointment on Guineas weekend. I'd put him up, I think, at 8-1 each way. He went off 4-1 and then just fell out of the stalls and was absolutely nowhere. Finished 12-14. I think that's a run to completely discard. He's a horse that needs to be prominent. He needs to fly the gates. And for one reason or another, he just stood still in the gates. He is carrying top weight, but Dylan Brown McMonagle takes off 7. So he's only running off effect of 85. As I say, if you take a line through that previous run, he was 4th in a listed race before that at Leopardstown. So running off a mark 85 in a handicap, he surely should be making hay at some stage. He is 10-1 best price at the moment. I think that's a good bet, and I think he has still, as I say, I think he's got a few of these sprint handicaps in him, but he obviously does need to break a little bit more alertly. The 5.45 is the 1 mile Celebration Stakes, a listed race, and provided me with probably my best moment of the flat season so far from a punting perspective, putting up Bowerman to win the the Lincolnshire at the Curragh at 9-1, and he absolutely hacked up. It was a very, very professional performance. I got there in the end. This 6-year-old is in the form of his life. He was in the form of his life at Dundalk over the winter. He then went over to Cancer Mare and came 2nd in a listed race, and then won the Lincolnshire at a hack canter for Ronan Whelan. Whelan keeps the ride here on this gelded son of Dutch Art, and I do think a listed race is well within his capabilities. Ancient Spirit is a very good horse. He'll be tricky to beat, but he's also a tricky ride and a bit of a monkey himself. So I'm going to take him on. And Bowerman, he's around 7-2 at the moment, and I think he's actually my best bet of the day. I'm going to stay loyal to a horse like him. He did me really well, and I do think I'd be massively shocked if he isn't in the first 3. The 6.15 is the 7 furlong Premier Handicap. I'm going to take one at a big price here. Another one I've put up at Goran, I think, in the week when I was doing the week-long videos when racing was returning. Tommy Taylor here. He's 16-1 for Johnny Levins and Donagh O'Connor. He's run really well for this stable since joining from Kevin Ryan. He's come second 3 times, and 6th the other time at Dundalk when things didn't quite go his way. I think 7 furlongs is probably his ideal trip at this stage, even though he won a listed race back in the day for Kevin Ryan over 6 furlongs at York. I think he'll improve for his run last time out. I backed him at Gorham Park each way at I think 9-10-1, and then I was watching racing TV, of which Johnny Levins, who's a bit of a straight talking bloke, literally said this guy has no hope today. He's going to come on really for this run, going ahead to this type of a handicap. He didn't necessarily pinpoint this race, but he did pinpoint a big Premier handicap to go at. He ran a superb race as it was to come 2nd to Bucky Larson, and I think he's a massive each way price at 16-1 is available. There's 12 and 14s pretty much across the board, but I think it was Ladbrokes that were given 16s. So I think that's a massive price at each way angle. 4 or 5 places for a race of this nature. The 6.45 is the 5 furlong 2-year-old race, and a horse I blew my boons on at Ascot last week was Chief Little Hawk, and I'm going to give him one more go here because I really liked his maiden win to the Blue Panther, even though the Blue Panther got chinned again the other day at Navan, I think, when he came 3rd. It was Navan or Nace. But I still think the form of that's not too bad. He's 11-4 here, this son of Air Force Blue. I had an obsession with Air Force Blue. He's probably the first flat horse that I was like, whoa, this horse is superb. And then obviously his 3-year-old career was absolutely stink. But he is better than his run last week at Ascot. I really do think so. I think the form of that probably won't end up being the worst race either. because I think Tactical is obviously a very good horse, the horse that won the Windsor Castle. Frenetic is the horse to beat, the Gerlines filly who beat Mother Earth by a length and a half. She's got a superb form in the book from that race and also gets £5 from Chief Little Hawk. But she's short as it is. She's 5-6 to 4. Chief Little Hawk's 11 to 4. That's my type of price in a race like this, and hopefully he can get his career back on track. The 7:15 is the Pièce de Resistance. It's the Derby itself. Let's call a spade here. This is an absolute shocker of a race, I think. I think nothing will tell me otherwise. I think it's a really poor race. Santiago's the rightful favourite, 3 to 1. O'Brien's got 6 in it. Look, I'm going to end up siding with Arthur's Kingdom here. He's drifted out to a price of 6 to 1 or 13 to 2 in some boards, this Son of Camelot. And he's just the most likely, I think, of all these O'Brien horses and all the horses in the race to just run his race. I don't know. I'm kind of contemplating whether to put him up each way or not. 13 to 2 is a pretty stinky each way price, but it would surprise me if he wasn't in the first 3. He's just a solid horse. He came second in the King Edward to Pile Driver. That's the Mogul form, and probably I'm going to end up giving Mogul another chance in the Derby. So hopefully that form could be boosted in some way. Santiago, as I say, is the rightful favourite. He's the one to beat, but he's a short enough price for a horse that's won a pretty average renewal of the Queen's Vase as impressively as he did it. I don't think it was a great race, to be honest. This Arthur's Kingdom, as I say, came second in the King Edward. He was second to a horse called McFancy over in France at the end of last year. McFancy hasn't gone on to do anything, so that form isn't brilliant, but he is ground versatile. He's a solid horse. It's a poor race, 13 to 2. Is not something I'm, bowled over by, but I think it's a solid enough each way bet. And we'll finish off with the 7:45, which is the Vintage Crop Stakes over a mile 6, a Group 3 race. And I'm going to go to the well one more time. I'm following in an awful lot of my Cliff horses in this card, if you haven't already realised. And one of them being Falcon 8. He's 5 to 1. I suspect you might be able to get 6 to 1 on the day. He was third in the Levmos on his reappearance at Leopardstown. He looked alright that day, a little bit laboured, kind of plugged on late. Obviously, that day wasn't meant to be the day. He's put in a few decent enough group efforts. He ran all right in the Prix de Cadran at the back end of last year. He won a Sandown listed race to Mahong, or Mekong, is it? Mekong, I think his name is. Something like that. But Frankie Dettori delivered him on the line, and it was an absolute brilliant ride. He does need to be wound up. He does find a fair bit off the bridle, but you need to get stuck into him early doors. Hopefully he can keep staying on here. Oisin Orr is coming into a little bit of form. He's ridden a couple of winners in the past few days, as has Dermot Well, trained a couple of winners in the past few days. So hopefully the whole team is coming to the boil here. And obviously, in a race that's being honoured by Vintage Crop himself, Wells will obviously want a horse to perhaps win it or certainly go close in it. So Falcon 8 will be my selection in that. He's a horse I've always thought was going to end up being probably a better horse than he's ended up being. But you can't do much about it, and hopefully tomorrow can be the day he lands his first Group 3. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel down below. If you missed it already, my nap of the day, I'm going to go with Bowerman, a 7 to 2 for the Celebration Stakes. If I was to give a next best, I think actually Tommy Taylor at 16 to 1 is not a bad each way price. Try and find as many places as you can in that race. The Premier Handicap at 6.15. If you guys have any selections yourself, please do leave them in the comments down below. Certainly I might need them, and certainly maybe a few other people might need them as well. If you've gotten word for something, make sure to put it down below and get involved. And obviously, if you are new around here, do subscribe for more videos like this. And I'll see you guys tomorrow evening, where hopefully we'll be recapping on a couple of winners, and we can go ahead and look forward to the Pretty Polly Stakes. Until then, hope you're safe, hope you're well, hope you land a few bets, and I'll see you guys then. Cheers.